भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Before you could uproot a tree, first thing he says is weaken the tree. Right now, the tree of samsara is looking so huge. So, first thing you do is make it smaller. Then you can pluck it out. If it is too big, it is difficult to deal with it. So that's why he says first, Shanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva. Through this Asanga. Now this Asanga is, to understand first you need to understand Sangha. There are essentially three things we have this association, attachment. One with the relatives, the relationships, formal or informal, it doesn't matter. That is a relationship means you get attached. That's why a problem of the neighbor is not your problem. Right? The neighbor's house, there is a child there, didn't pass the exam. Neighbors, what happens to you? Is it public exam failed? Oh my God. Put a little more sambar. More than that, there's no impact. Imagine if it were to happen to your child. Public exam fail. What will happen? Right. Then we have this attachment to the objects, whatever we possess. All those things that we carry. It could be as simple as my pin. My hairpin is enough. You can get attached to your hairpin. You get attached to your house. You get attached to all the possessions. And then you carry to your notions. All that Sangha that you're talking about is only these three things. Like I am good, I am bad. I am intelligent. I am dull, bright, wrong, powerful, powerless. All this put together. So Sangha, when he says association, means attachment. Attachment means to what? Attachment you got to classify into these three brackets. He didn't respect me, sir. Is this the way you treat a guest? You know how great I am, how big I am, how important I am. Is this the way you treat me? The attachment is not to relationship. Attachment is to what? To my notion. You see. Either you get attached to people around you, beings. It's not just people, please. Can be even your dog. You can get attached to your dog also. I saw in one house, family tree, they put a dog also there. In their family tree. You are including. Does it include you? Either this, or you get attached to things. So attachment means, we think too many things. First way to start. How do you start your, thought process with reference to your attachment? First step is to bracket it. If you want to go by number of items, it will just go on and on and on. There's no end to it. Now, to what you are going to get attached? Three things. Either to relationships, beings, that means, or to objects, or to notions. Then it is possible for you to recognize where your attachment is. This is the first step. Asanga Shastra, he said. First thing is to recognize where you are attached. Yes.
So this notions is only about how I am, or
How others?
Others also, everything.
I believe you are a good person. Right. Manjunath to all of us is what? Oh, such a sweet person, very soft. Go and ask in his office. Suresh Rao, such a humble person, sir. Go to his office and ask. They will give you a different picture. See, so to what you are getting fixed with, that's called attachment. Attachment is a fixation. You get fixed with it. The fixed notion that we carry, that rigidity that we, comes along with it, refusing to change. That's where the issue is. So if you have to practice this Asanga Shastra, I told you, if you have to cut with the axe, he says, the Shastra says, the axe. If you have to cut, first requirement is the axe should be strong. Also, it should be sharp. To sharpen the axe, what you do? Grind it. How many times? Once a week I do, sir. Once a week, once I do. But I'm very consistent. How many janmas you have to keep sharpening that? You have to keep doing it over and over and over, again and again and again you have to do. The problem is we don't want to sharpen the axe. We want to straight away use the axe. So people always ask, is Vedanta practical? What do you mean by practical? Who can practice? Is medicine practical? Who can practice medicine? The one who has studied alone can practice medicine. Right? You have not even enrolled. You have not even enrolled for NEET exam. And straight away, first thing the fellow asks is, when I enroll for NEET exam, can I practice my medicine? You have to pass the NEET exam, and then we need to see what is the ranking of yours. And then we have to see whether you are qualified then interview, only then you are going to get a enrollment. Then can I practice? Even then you cannot. You have to go through this full course of 5 years. I have done 3.5 years medicine. Can I practice? Will it be allowed? You are asking that. What is Vedanta? Knowledge of life and living. When can I practice? Before learning, you want to practice. How can you? Have to sharpen the axe. Keep doing it over and over and again. That sharpening, you start with what? First, identify your areas of attachment. Then you will find you are doing the specific effort. And generally, there are two angles. Thinking is recommended. One is learn to see things as they are. Right? Yadartha darshanam. That's the first step. Step one, or one aspect. Your ability to see things as it is, full stop. Without you adding anything to it. Without any subjective value addition to the things, you see them as they are. That is called Yadartha darshanam. Step one. This is after identifying your areas of attachment. I am getting attached to a vehicle. Now understand the value of that vehicle. What is the value of it? Oh, it is 15 lakhs. Where is it standing? $15 lakhs stone. Will you keep quiet? No. The notes, the currencies has to be clean. What's the value of it, sir? 15 lakhs is the car value. But what is the condition of the car? Which means, do you understand the value of it actually? Without adding anything to it. The moment you have to take care, immediately you have to add what? My car. Unless you add that my car, it is impossible. Taking care of things or beings, anywhere you have to do, first requirement all of us have is, I have to add value to it. Without the subjective value addition. Develop the capacity to see the objects as it is. You see the full moon. What are you seeing? Seeing full moon, that's all. Don't start writing poetry there. I'm not saying poet should not do that, please. That is not the way you are supposed to see. You see a flower, you just see a flower, full stop. Don't immediately start thinking in terms of what I can do with it. No. One person thinks, I'll pluck it and give it to my beloved. Another person says, I'll pluck it and give it in the feet of God. Another person says, I'll draw. Another person says, I'll take it and sell. This is value addition. What you do with it. Now here there is no what you do with it. Here it is just a question of What is it? What is that person? Full stop. What is that object? What is you? What are you? You cannot say you don't know anything, nor can you say you know everything. It's not that you are not having any value. There is value. Like one spring goes off. What will happen to the entire? Nothing will work. But what is the value of that spring? How much will you pay for it? You're not going to pay the price of the instrument. Just pay a little, that's it. It's very important. Say, correct. If that wire is not functioning, so the wire is gone, which means what? The car is not starting. Now, how much will you pay for the wire now? It is important. I'm not saying, therefore wire is useless. Nor can you say, I will pay 50,000 rupees for wire. Without that wire, you can't even move that car. What is the point? Therefore, no, there is a value for it. You recognize what it's worth. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't add anything to it, nor you delete something out of it. Either you do addition or you do deletion. Both you should not do. Without these two things, if you operate, that is called seeing things as they are. Step 1, Yadhartha Darshan. The sharpening, you do two things, you go up and down. Up and down. The first direction. Second direction is ability to see the defect in it. Remember the first word, what did I say? That's one direction. Second one will move in which direction? Opposite direction. So when you are sharpening it, see, you can't keep doing only one. You have to do these two things and both will appear contradicting. Now these both you have to do. Second dimension is to see that dosha, the defect. Dosha darshan. That's why the spiritual practice, this practices are very complex, we say. Confusing. It needs to be done under proper guidance. Why is because you are tampering with your thoughts. See, when you are muddling with your thoughts, your thinking, you have to be very careful. Or else you got to be very casual. Say, I'm also attending. I'm also attending Gita class. Then that's okay. You don't have to worry. Right? I'm talking about those who are seriously taking it up. If you're going to take it up very seriously, then you have to be monitored. What is monitoring? Why that is needed is because the very effort demands you to do things contradictingly. Such contradiction, how will you digest and continue? So the second one is very interesting. Second dimension they give is dosha, the defects, the flaws in that. But sir, you only said Isha Vasya Vidagum Sarvam. See God everywhere. No, won't work. That doesn't mean, Isha Vasya Vidagum Sarvam is a wrong place. Not that is wrong statement. That Isa Vasimadakam Sarvam is told to a person who is not under moha. When you have moha, you have to see the dosha. When you are out of moha, then you can talk about how to see God everywhere and all that. When you have that moha, then it is compulsory to see what is the defect in it. So what we, otherwise we call it as pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha. To see it from another opposite. Right now, I am believing all happiness and pleasure, everything is going to come only out of this. Like for example, can compress this entire message into a simple statements. Simple, very easy to understand. Not a complex ones. I mean, theoretically to understand. To digest it and accept and say yes would demand all these things. First one, isn't it all of us believe when your desires are fulfilled, you are happy. When your desire not fulfilled, you are not happy. Correct now?
Yes.
That is your belief, right? That is your notion. That is your conviction. Right? All of us think what? Including the speaker. Belief is what? Desire fulfilled, happy. Desire not fulfilled, unhappy. Okay? Now I ask a question. Does individual desire to be happy or collective? I am having 100 desires. Out of 100 desires, how many desires got fulfilled? How many desires not fulfilled? Just in terms of percentage. 100%.
90% not fulfilled.
90% not fulfilled. Very optimistic. Must be in, seventh heaven. Right. 90% not fulfilled. Which means 90% of the time how you should be agitated. Are you? By your own observation, you will never say, sir, it's not that 90% I'm agitated. Once in a while I'm getting agitated. Which means what? Which means for me to be happy, fulfillment of the desire is not a compulsory condition. It's not compulsory. If it is compulsory, then 90% of the time you should be agitated. You see that? You see the defect in the thinking? There is a flaw. What is a flaw, sir? It is not going along with our own experience. My experience says that I am agitated, I get disturbed once in a while. But theoretically, I say what? Also, I carry the notion that 90% of my desires are not fulfilled. Which means 90% of the time I should be agitated. I should not be happy. But factually, it is the other way around. Which means what? Which means fulfillment of the desire is not a compulsory condition for me to be happy. That's all Vedanta says. All that you are saying is this. All that you have to do is what? Go by your own experience. This is called defect in our thinking. That notions I said no. Third aspect. 3 attachments I said. Relationships, objects. Most of the time we will be talking about attachment to the relationship, defects in the relationship, defects in the things. If at all we talk about the defect in the notion, immediately we will start talking about all our ego, arrogance, jealousy, those things. I'm not talking about all those things, please. Defects means what is it that we genuinely believe, that ability to probe that, ability to investigate. Why do you get attached?
Fulfilling some need that I have. Give me some-
We seek something from that thing or person. For that, we get attached. There's some hidden expectation, objective.
Need not be hidden, even explicit also doesn't make any difference. I have some expectation, correct. And that expectation seemed to be getting fulfilled. Right? Do you ever expect BMW to be sold at 10 lakhs new? You're launching a new BMW series. Starting price 10 lakhs. Do you ever expect that? Why? It's impossible to be. You yourself know it is an impossibility. Right? You don't come to the class, expect Ishwaran to sing bhajans. I start singing bhajans. You don't come here expecting that. So there is no disappointment you can ever have. Right? But you come with that expectation, this guy should speak some sense. There's a possibility of getting disappointed. There's a chance. So that expectation should be what? That object in your perception seem to possess the capacity to fulfill your expectation. That is what first thing we do, Yadartha Darshanam. We say, what is Yadartha Darshanam? Does that object possess the capacity to provide what I want from that? I want attention from that object, and I want that attention to be undivided, uninterrupted attention. If someone were to give you that undivided, uninterrupted attention, what will happen to you? When you hear that somebody is giving you undivided attention, you feel like what? Wow. Imagine someone actually doing it. You know what will happen? After about half an hour, 45 minutes, undivided attention. Okay, take it literally. Undivided attention means what? Keep on looking at you. Imagine somebody is constantly looking at you. You get up, walk, looking. You sit down, looking. You're eating, looking. You're not saying anything. Right? He's not saying, don't do this way, do this way. Nothing of that sort. All that he is doing is what? Just looking at you, undivided attention. You only wanted, no. Uh-huh. That's a hell. You follow? But then initially all of us will say what? Sir, I want undivided attention. I want undivided attention when? For how long? Whenever I am in a mood to receive your attention, you should give. The moment my mood changes, what you should do? You also move. What are we saying? Imagine the same thing is what the other person is also saying. That is why today relationships are becoming so complex. Not because suddenly it has become very complex. As though in the about 2-3 generations back, people never had relationships, is it? In fact, they had more. Oh, this cousin, that cousin, fourth cousin, fifth cousin, all that. Now there's only 2 people are there in the house. You're looking for a house, he said that I was asking yesterday, one of this guy. How many people are there in the house? I said, how many you want? He said, huh? I said, how many you want? In my house, how many will be there? You give me any number of rooms, the rooms will get filled. Doesn't make any difference. 5-bedroom also you can search. He took me to one house. Last week we saw it. Last week. Bedroom. He said, this is master bedroom. Half the size of the hall. Literally half the size of the hall. I'm not joking. The hall, half if you divide, that's the room size. You can play a tennis match inside. Have a hide and seek. That will get filled. It will get filled. How much you want? Not relationships, please. The problem is what? That's why today we have started having more of pets now. Why? Is because when I want attention, it will come. So even pets also, people keep dogs. Very rare to find cats as a pet. When you call the cat, it hears, but it will not return. It will not even look at you. Whenever it wants, it will come. But dogs are not like that. See, you call, the fellow will come. Anytime. In your house, you call people. The servant won't come. You can keep calling. What is the problem? I have an expectation, and that expectation, is there any logic behind that expectation? We believe when the expectation gets fulfilled, I'll be happy. But it is so interesting to see, when all your expectation gets fulfilled, your life becomes very boring. Boring, yeah. Your class is very interesting. Swamiji's lectures are boring. Why? He's saying the same thing. Because he's speaking the truth. 2 plus 2, 4. No? 2 plus 2, 4. How many varieties we can give in 2 plus 2, 4? 2 chappal and 2 chappal. I can keep. 2 2 cricket ball and 2 cricket ball, or 2 cricket ball and 2 football. That's all you can keep. 2 plus 2 is 4 means 2 plus 2 is 4. What else to expect? Your class is very interesting. Why? Every class, no connection. This is called the process of sharpening the axe. After doing this, after sharpening, attack your sangha, attachment. Like this, when you do, after doing this, he says, next step. If you stop over here, remember, life will get more frustrated and depressed. Now, initially, we may think Vairagya itself has a tremendous impact. But if you do not quickly jump over to the next step, it can lead to a disaster. So that's what he gives in the fourth verse. Tatah padam tat parimargitavya. Yes.
So you were telling something about individual desires and collective desires. You didn't elaborate about collective desires.
All your desires. 1 desire, 2 desire, 3 desire. Does 1 desire fulfilled, you feel happy. Does all your desires getting fulfilled, you believe what? I'll be totally happy. If all my desires not fulfilled, many of my desires not fulfilled, many a times I should be unhappy, or you. That is a good question. You get it? Then that goal should be sought. Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam. Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuya. You have read that, no? Then that goal should be sought. Should be sought in the sense, should be known. See, there's no seeking in Vedanta. You are seeking something means you are not having it. Here the issue is not with reference to gaining something afresh. You see that? It has to be sought in the sense it needs to be understood, needs to be known. Knowing is attaining. You just have to know that you are having it already. That knowing is what is referred to as sought here. Then that goal should be known. What is that? The goal of perfection. The goal of perfection should be what? Goal of realization, moksha, mukti, nirvana, samadhi, whatever words. Right? However you understand, you understand. Just use the word perfection. That's about it. In some other context, you will say perfection itself is wrong. You see, in another context, I myself will say seeking perfection is the flaw. Right? But here we say that state of perfection is what is referred to as a goal here. Then he gives next line. Veda having gone, they do not return again. Anything which gets added. Now comes the justification for the interpretation of sought. What is a proof? Sought is not something that you have to gain. What is a proof? The proof is this: because you do not return again, which means anything which is gained can be lost. See, you have gained means you can lose it. That which is inherent can never be lost because it is not gained, it's not added on. Anything that is added can be deleted. So he says, having gone, they do not return again. Return again, you can take it as very many things to our own level of understanding. One, you can say no rebirth. But that is possible only when you understand birth is itself is a lacuna. See, unless you understand birth itself is a problem. A particular type of birth, you have an issue. See, very birth itself is not an issue for us. A particular way of taking birth, we have an issue. But that is not what Vedanta says. Vedanta says, doesn't matter. Take birth, you are finished. Whatever birth it is. See, we don't appreciate it. So that's why that is very difficult for us to understand. Even though we keep chanting, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam. You can keep on repeating it. Right? Every day morning you can listen also. You can sing as well. You can read about it, you can talk about it, but still you never understand what is the meaning of it. What is the meaning? You should understand the very birth itself is a problem. Do you believe that? Taking birth there is problem, sir. Taking birth as this is a problem, sir. Conditions. There are no conditions. Any birth out. So first thing it says is they do not return again. Do not return means they do not take birth again. This is one. Then another way of understanding the same is they do not return again means not only with reference to the final goal of realization, it also means at any stage of your growth, once you have grown above a particular level, you don't fall back. Like Kaun Banega Crorepati, First 5 questions, you answer 25 lakhs. I don't know, I'm just saying, okay. They will just answer 25 lakhs. 6th question they will ask. 7th question. Now you can quit or try. If you lose, you will get the minimum guarantee of 2 lakhs you will get. Get out. You will lose all this. You will get only 2.5 lakhs. Then you come up to 10th question. 11th question you go. They'll say, now if you quit and say, I'm leaving, take this and go. You give a wrong answer, you will get 5 lakhs. Minimum guarantee is what? 5 lakhs. Vedanta gives a minimum guarantee. What is it? Whatever level you have achieved, you will not fall back. That's a guarantee here. They do not return. Once you have reached that state of renunciation. Remember, verse 3 is Vairagya. Right? Verse 4, he goes to then. Then means after the practice of Vairagya, then you reach a state of sannyasa. which is known as renunciation. Right? Vairagya, then you reach a state called sannyasa, renunciation. After you have reached that state of renunciation, you fix the goal of realization directly and start working towards it. That's the process here. Having gone, they do not return again. Third line, or the second half of the first half of the second line. Ameva chadyam purusham prapadye. I seek refuge in that primeval Purusha, the Supreme Being. Why suddenly he is talking about I seek refuge in that? Prapadye. Seek refuge. Understood as I seek refuge. Right? What is important is in any effort, you need to have a particular value for that thing that you are seeking. He said, you got to seek, no? Then that goal should be sought. Right? For you to seek something, first you need to have intellectual value. Apart from having an intellectual value, it is very important to have an emotional value. See, intellectual value you understand. Yeah, it's like when I say that, what I mean is, imagine a person doing a PhD on donkeys. Right? A donkey may get annoyed. Blue whale. He's doing a PhD on blue whale. You think he's going to get attached to blue whale? Huh? What is the relationship he is going to have with that? You see, there's no emotional link with the blue whales or the donkeys. He just says, I need to write a thesis on that. On this, I write a thesis, I get my PhD and walk out. Emotional value is that. To the study I meant, not to the donkeys. That fellow may get attached to donkey for other reasons. I'm not talking about the donkeys or the blue whales. I'm saying with reference to the study of it, with reference to the effort, will he have? That is why the studies were known as Mimamsa. You see, this subject is known as Mimamsa Shastra. You know, the Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Vedanta is called, technically, it is called as Uttara Mimamsa. This Mimamsa study. What is that Mimamsa study? Mimamsa study means any study which is of reverential in nature. See, Pujya Vishaya. Pujya Vishaya Vichara is known as Mimamsa. That reverential attitude. When you are taking this, Sidney Shelton. You read that book versus you read Ramayana. You see that the people who sincerely study this Harry Potter, another person is reading Ramayana. Now, the way you have an outlook towards Ramayana is different from the way you have an outlook towards Harry Potter. Right? That difference is what he means here. I seek refuge in that primeval Purusha. Why suddenly you have to take refuge? What is taking this refuge? This Prapatya. Prapatya means how you got to understand is this. This is what you will find all these people doing this. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What you would say. Surrender means this, he'll say. All that you have to do is what? Hands up. When do you do that? You're showing gun. Somebody shows gun, what do you do first thing? Hands up. What are you saying there? When you're raising your hands, what are you saying? I don't have anything to attack you. I am incapacitated, powerless. I don't have anything with me to do, nothing in my hands. That's what it is. That's what Prapatya means. Surrender. I take refuge in thee means what? It means that I have nothing in my hands. It was very interesting. If you see that spiritual effort, that effort starts with your willful choice. See, there's no necessity for you to turn to spiritual, isn't it? Imagine you have not learned Bhagavad Gita. What is the loss for you in life? Imagine there is no Bhagavad Gita in the world. They have taken out. Bhagavad Gita is taken out of equation. What is going to be what is going to happen to the world, do you think? Imagine carpentry is taken out of world. What will happen? Imagine medicine taken out of equation. Any type of medicine, it doesn't matter. Engineering taken out. We feel life will come to a standstill. But imagine Vedanta taken out. Will life come to a standstill? Maybe it will go better. We don't know. Before studying Vedanta, were you not living? You are living, no. At some point you started, right? All of us. My question is, before that, what is your issue? Okay, now the quality of life has got better, we can claim. But life has not had any issues, no. Qualitative change only, not a survival problem. When it comes to other subjects, it is a survival issue, remember. So, when you are starting, when you are turning to spiritual, it is not any compulsion. That's why, people always ask, the moment you go in this dress, people ask, why did you choose this? Nobody asks the engineer, why did you choose to study engineering? Nobody asks a doctor, why did you choose to study medicine? Nobody asks. Suddenly come here, why they ask here? Because it's not a must. Something you have to study, right? But study the spiritual is not a must. Therefore, it is a choice. Factually, your free will which is existing in you, you are exercising for the first time only when you come here. First time your free will is exercised. In all other aspects, there's no free will. You may claim, I'm having free will and all these things. That's not a free will, please. It's exactly like a tiger sees a herd of zebras, chooses one zebra to attack. Do you call that as choice? It doesn't have a choice. Why you don't call that as choice? There is a herd of zebras. It's choosing no.
It's all zebras.
The starting point is what? Instinct of hunger. When it gets hungry, what it will do? It will not go for a brook to drink water. A tiger, when it is hungry, it will not go. If it is thirsty, it will not attack the zebra. If it is hungry, it will go for attack. Which means the first step is automated. After that, whatever you do doesn't make any difference. Similarly, the first step is what? You may choose to study this subject, that subject, all these things. But that there you are not exercising free will, please. You are exercising free will. Your free will has some relevance. Only when you say that I'm going to choose something which is not a must. That's why when you come to the spiritual thing, people ask you, why are you going for Gita class? Right? Zumba dance, if you go, nobody will ask. Why? Understood. Right? Suddenly you say that, I'm going for jogging. Nobody asks, why are you going for jogging? Why? First step is what? The desire. Drives. Here, it's your choice, free will. Right? What is going to carry you right through the spiritual path? Again, your free will only. So, you are not choosing one of your desire to be pursued. You follow? Free will, exercising of free will means if you are choosing one of the desire to be pursued instead of other desires, that is exactly like a tiger choosing one zebra versus other zebra. Only difference is this. Zebras there, desires here. Only when we say I am moving out of desire, you fix the goal. That's what he means by saying, then that goal should be sought. So when you are exercising, factually speaking, only now you are actually using your free will. When? After Vairagya. What is that, sir? You make a choice of keeping all the desires aside and say that I'm going to move in a direction which is not propelled by any of the desires. Right? Desires, attachments, ego, whatever words. In that, what will happen? There is a notion you will get. Right? What you are pursuing, and the pursuit is not a casual effort, right? It's a intense effort. Intense effort needs to be put in. How much intense effort if you put in, you will get realization? How intense it has to be? However intense you put, you will not. Is there a guarantee? Is it enough? How much effort if you put in is enough? Nothing is enough. You see, there is no quantifying. You cannot quantify this much of intensity if you bring in. Like, they say this zinc, 3500 degrees Celsius, something like that. I don't know, just saying. Okay. You put zinc will come out. If you keep gold and what they call zinc, not zinc, copper, they mix, no, that mix. It just gets mixed, copper mix that. How will you identify that? Heat it. Automatically what will happen? Even though it is mixed, it gets separated. That particular degree you got to bring it, that's it. So we have some measurements. Like that, what is a measurement you can give for the effort that you have to put in? You cannot. So a point comes where your efforts can never be enough. At that point, what to do? Yes, surrender there. That's what it means here. I seek refuge in that primeval Purusha, Supreme Being. I seek refuge in that one. I say that any amount of effort that I put in is not enough. Why any amount is? Because Brahman is not something which can be classified as known, nor can you classify Brahman as unknown. Brahman is neither known nor unknown. Aham manye suvedeti nona vedeti vedacha. Nonas tatveda tatveda nona vedeti vedacha. It is neither known nor unknown. Then what is it, sir? Need to create a new word for that. Unknowable. It is not. It's neither known nor unknown. It is unknowable. So therefore, when something which can never be known, all the effort I am putting is to know that. How can you put in your effort to know something which is unknowable in nature? It has got nothing to do with your intellectual capabilities, please. There are few people who have that intellectual capability to understand languages. There are few people who have the capabilities to understand mathematics. There are few people who understands the artistic things, art. Now that is to do with a particular talent. Now we are not talking about a particular talent here. Any amount of talent you have or no amount of talent is needed. The talent is independent, irrelevant here. But then you have to know that. Therefore he says, I seek refuge in the primeval Purusha. Beautiful idea. From where he started? From third verse onwards he started. Right? Second line. And then the first line. Second line. Third line. So much of progress has been done. Like first he had to have certain basic qualifications. After those qualifications, he had to go for this development of, personality through this practice of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. With all these things, he practices. After practicing this Karma, Bhakti, Jnana, he has this Renunciation. After renunciation, he has to go through this process of dharana, dhyana, right? First, adhikaritvam to be developed. After adhikaritvam, viveka, vairagya, shatsampati, mumukshatva. Then he comes to karma, bhakti, jnana, and then shravana, manana, nididhyasana. So much of effort, right? When you slog like that, what is the natural effect of that? Those who slog, those who don't slog don't have this issue. Those who slog, wherever you have slogged, what is the
Perfection.
You get tiredness.
Tiredness.
result? You see, you slog and slog and slog, always we keep whether the result is commemorating with the effort. See, does the result commemorate with the effort? Is it in the right ratio? If that ratio is not, your effort is more, the result is less, what will happen? What will be your motivation to further your effort? Every effort should produce some result, you see. It should keep showing something. If it is not showing anything, what will happen? You will get completely demotivated. That is a time surrender is needed. Now, when he says, I take refuge in thee, what he is meaning is, I accept the rate of growth. You see, I accept the whatever be the rate of growth, I am willing to accept it. That state. Remember, that comes, don't start with acceptance. That is the danger of this word. There are few words which we have really messed up, means these words. Yeah, I accept. What effort you have put into make that? After toiling, after giving everything that you have, you should say, whatever comes, let it come, okay. Now, wherever we have slogged, we fix the minimum returns expected. So at least this much should be there. So much of effort I put in. That much should be there. So much of effort I put in to cook. At least say, not good. Right, doesn't matter. Say something, no? Right. You just simply eat and walk out. How irritated you get? How much ever you put in effort, you slog, you give everything, and then say what? I accept the rate of progress. Whatever be the progress I experience, doesn't matter. I am willing to stay. That is the meaning of I seek refuge in that. I seek refuge. Now, don't say immediately, I am also raising my hand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raises his hand, there's a meaning. You raising hand has no meaning, please. When he was dancing in that ecstasy of, you don't keep jumping. It's good for your heart. Jumping jacks, what do you say? Good for your health. But bhakti will not come. Remember. You can't go and sit in Tiruvannamalai and to become Ramana Maharishi. You can't live there. There are thousands of people living in Tiruvannamalai. What has happened to them? That will not come, please. You see, now when he says, there is a meaning. Why? Because that much of effort, that after that effort you had put in, he says, this is the stand of mine. What does it say? I surrender. Then he qualifies to who he surrenders. Now comes the fascinating point. Most of us will be talking about Brahman, 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 Supreme Being. Suddenly he says, Supreme Being, that also this Ekara is very important here. Supreme Being alone. This is where a lot of people have that interpretation. He says, Eva means only to the Supreme Being I surrender. Only to Krishna I will surrender. Ramala I will not consider. Yeah, Shiva, yeah, he is a good devotee of Krishna. That much I can accept. But not as God. No. He is a demigod only. Why? He says very clearly. Purusha Sukta talks about whom? Supreme Being. Same word he is using, Purusham. Therefore what? Amazing. So suddenly he comes and says, from refuge in that primeval Purusha, Supreme Being alone, wherefrom stream forth ancient activity. Ancient means what? Ancient. Just the word ancient means what? Old, very old, long ago. Such a long ago, so long ago. Nobody knows how long ago. That is called ancient. What is activity which commenced so long ago, such a long ago? Creation. See, what is the first activity? Creation. Ancient activity is what? Sir? Creation. From whom steam forth ancient activity? Urdhva Moolam Adashakam. Urdhva Moolam. Yes. Now, from where it all started, sir? It all started from that primeval Purusha. That root. So he started from there and ended there. 4 verses. Rest of the chapter is easy. Don't worry. Right? After that, it will be very easy. Like they say, up to 45, your life will be miserable. After that, you'll get used to it. Like that. By now, you would have got used to this 4 lines. See, each line references one idea. Beautiful verse. Wherefore this steam for this ancient activity. From where the whole creation started. Which means you have to go back to the basic understanding about creation. You have to go back there and then come again. Again, when you come back, you'll be able to understand the flow much better. Right. See you next class.